What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Weisz.
Dr. Jeremy Weisz here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. Tom Foster of Foster Web Marketing. Before I formally introduce Tom, I always like to mention other episodes people should check out. And, you know, we were just together actually at a mastermind. I've interviewed Brian Kurtz a couple times, who's one of the most generous, giving, nicest people, but he is a genius in the direct response marketing world. So check out the interviews I did with Brian Kurtz. I also interviewed Kim Walsh-Phillips, who actually introduced us previous to even meeting at this live event. And she has an amazing episode. And she's also a genius when it comes to marketing. And Vance Morris, who we were also hanging out with, who is amazing with customer experience. He worked at Disney for years. So check that episode out, all on InspiredInsider.com. And this episode is brought to you by Rise 25. At Rise 25, we help businesses give to and connect to their Dream 100 relationships. And Tom, how do we do that? We help you run your podcast. You know, for me, Tom, and I know for you, you have a podcast. The number one thing in my life is relationships. I'm always looking at ways to give to my best relationships. And I found no better way to do that than to profile the people and companies I most admire on this planet. And over the past decade, that's what I've been doing. So if you've thought about podcasting, you should. If you have questions, you can go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com. Happy to answer anything that you have. I'm excited. Tom Foster is a nationally recognized author, law firm, internet marketing services expert. He's the author of The 7 Biggest Mistakes Lawyers Make with Their Web Marketing that can cost them millions in cases, clients, and profits. He also has a book, How Smart Lawyers Are Using Video on the Web to Get More Cases Without Breaking the Bank. And he's got several other books as well. And Tom actually entered the world of technology initially to focus on sales and marketing in 1991 after serving a 6-year tour in the Marines. Tom, thank you for your service. And he learned his initial technology skills while being stationed in top secret military communication centers all over the world. So there's something to be learned from Tom, some of the stuff he cannot share because it's under lock and key, but he'll share some of it today. And, you know, he had 6 years in software solutions or retail chains such as Best Buy, CompUSA, and he runs Foster Web Marketing, which helps doctors and lawyers, you know, really just blow up their online sales, you know, get in front of people with, you know, from their marketing, digital marketing to their website to everything else. Tom, thanks for joining me.
Wow, that is a clinic on how you do podcasting, Dr. Jeremy. Thank you so much for having me here. Wow. And, you know, you and I just became fast friends last week up in Connecticut at Brian Kurtz's place. You mentioned him. What a great guy. He's a great guy. Kim Walsh-Phillips, Vance, great people, some of my favorite people in the world. And I'm so happy to know you and so happy to be a guest on this podcast. And wow, you just gave me a clinic. You just showed me how to do it. So thank you so much, brother.
Well, it's much deserved, Tom. And I know there are some secrets you can't share of what you learned in the Marines, but what are some? That was a long time ago. What are some things that you remember learning? I don't know if there's a particular story that sticks out. At the time, maybe it was really tough, but you still think back on that story that it was a big learning for you from the Marines.
From the Marines?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was in 85 to 91. I was in right before Desert Shield. You know, I think that, you know, I'm very proud of my Marine Corps experience. And I think that the biggest takeaway from all of that is just being honorable and doing what you say you're going to do. And you got to take chances. And that's the world that we're in. You know, the world that we're in today is a much different world. You know, I'm a marketing guy. I'm a sales and marketing guy. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I went right into sales and marketing. Right after I got out of the Marine Corps, Jeremy, went into software sales. Sold translation software, cold calling people, doing that horrible kind of sales, and then ended up doing some fax outs, fax blasts, selling translation software. Ended up hitting it, and was very successful early on, and gotten in the software business, and then the software business went away. You remember CompUSA and Computer City? And remember when you used to go to software stores, you'd get in your car and go to a software store, and you go in there and you'd buy your box of software, and then you would go home and you would take the floppy disks out of the box and install them in your computer because your computer was not hooked up to the internet or anything. There was no internet then. There was no internet. Remember those days? No internet, no phones.
You were early. You were early in that.
I was early in the tech.
Yeah. I mean, one of the main topics, Tom, I want to talk to you about, which we'll get to, which is firing yourself from all of your jobs at your company. You know, because many of the business owners, that's kind of what they strive to do, even though they don't realize it, you know, just to oversee everything and to have a business that has the pieces in place and the people helping with those pieces. So we'll dig into that, but just tell people about Foster Web Marketing and what you do. I gave you a little intro, but just go a little bit deeper on what you do there.
So Foster Web Marketing is a digital marketing agency. We have our own custom software. It's not WordPress. It's called DSS. It's built on the Cold Fusion platform. We build websites for any business, really, for anybody, really. But most of our clients are lawyers and doctors. That's where we've, had most of our success. But we've got gym owners that are very successful using the platform. Other kinds of chiropractors. You're a chiropractor. Got chiropractors using the platform, and very successfully. It's a CMS, which is a content management system, CRM, a client relationship management system, lead management system, SEO tools, review tools, social media tools. Everything that you need to do digital marketing is in DSS. And where WordPress, you got to plug in all this stuff to make it work right, causing bloated code. It might look good, but it's very slow. With DSS, it's very fast, very efficient, very effective. And in the world of search, that's a very important game changer, is that it works very well.
Speed.
Speed is critical. And so our websites are very fast. Our clients' websites are very fast. And everything is custom. So we're kind of like a custom shop where people come when they have not had good experiences in other places. And I'm not saying, look, WordPress is fine for many, for lots of occasions. ClickFunnels, great, works great for a lot of people, for sure. But our solution works great for our kinds of clients. And for in many circumstances, you might choose to use us for your digital marketing efforts. Does everything ClickFunnels and WordPress does. So
Tom, let me know if I understand this correctly. So some people come on, you'll build them the site, all the tools, they kind of this all-in-one solution built in. Yep. And some people will go, that's amazing, thank you, and they'll run with it. And then
we train.
And then some people
how to use it. And then some people will be like, I don't want to do this. Please do it for me. And I got 50 people working for me. And 25 of them are content writers. So we write the content for the website. 10 of them are digital agency people, SEO people, we call them services. And that's who do search engine optimization, optimize the website, optimize the Google My Business, the LSAs, do the pay-per-click purchase. Those are the people that are doing the actual marketing, the online marketing piece. And so for those clients that don't want to do it, we can handle it for them. So that's what we found is, we started out as here's the software, go do it yourself. And many do, they like doing it themselves using DSS. But then we have about a third that are like, forget it. I'd rather you do it for me. And one of my biggest clients, great, Hupy and Abraham, this is who I was talking about. We were talking about earlier, Jason Abraham. Very successful personal injury firm in 3 states. Hupy and Abraham, they've been with me for 15 years now. Long time, very loyal. They've just been hugely successful. We've made them hugely successful organically, through paid, through the LSAs, through local. And that's really the business, is making sure that, and that's a very competitive field, personal injury, car accidents, motorcycle accidents, all of this terrible events that happen. And you need, these people need good lawyers. And Hupy and Abraham, Jason Abraham and his team is some of the best, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Iowa.
Do you get people, Tom? I could see how people are like, great. What made you at first decide to create this proprietary software? I mean, that's a big undertaking. You could have kind of been like everyone else. Go,
there was nothing else.
Yeah.
Because WordPress didn't exist back then when I first started making it. And there was nothing else out there. You were basically building websites statically. And so I built that at the same time somebody else was building WordPress. Whoever did that, I don't know. I should know. I should know.
I think it's Matt Mullenweg or something like that.
There you go. We need to get him on the podcast.
Do you have other agencies and people? I could see other agencies using your platform for their clients.
We're actually doing that. We're growing it to that so that other agencies could use DSS. That's a big initiative that we're working on right now. And, you mentioned earlier on, what I'm doing, because I've really delegated out all my jobs. I started doing everything, and coding the website, designing the website, writing the copy, doing everything, creating all the links, creating the structure, coding, you name it. I did it. Videos, I've done it all from A to Z. Now I have great people that do it much better than I could ever do it. And I fired myself from all jobs over the 25 years that I've been doing this, since Al Gore invented the internet. I have fired myself from all the jobs, and now I have great people. My CEO is Buster Tate, who's one of my best friends for 15 years now. He's my next door neighbor. He lives across the street from me. We became fast friends, and I asked him to come on and help me run this company. He's got great experience in the Department of the Navy, running special services. And so I was able to lure him away from the Pentagon, and came to work for me years ago, and has just done a fantastic job. I've got Gretchen Upright, who's my COO, who has been a project manager and building websites for me for 15 years. And so I've got great staff of people that have been doing this. And, I just keep pushing this off of me and getting others that are better at doing things than I am. Like, I have a vision of how I want things to be. Toby Crandall, he's my IT guy. He's been with me since the beginning. He's getting the app built. So DSS is coming up with an app. We're about a third of the way through building this little app. which is not going to be you're not going to be able to update your website with it, but you're going to be able to check your leads. You're going to be able to respond to your leads through it. You're going to be able to check your, analytics, your dashboard, what's going on with your website, what's going on with your leads. You're going to get email scores, all that kind of stuff. That's another thing in DSS. There's something that nobody else has, which is an email scorer. So in DSS, we score your email so you don't get in trouble. And, because, emailing people, you don't want to get stuck in their spam filter. And so
I'm curious,
yeah.
I love what you're talking about, firing yourself from your jobs. And it seemed like a common trend. Buster Tate, you had come in as CEO, but it seemed like some of the other people kind of moved up the ranks.
Yeah.
So what's the training process like when someone does come on board? And it seems like there's usually a lot of growth opportunity for them to move up in the company.
Well, I've had people that come. Okay, so my Gretchen started as a project manager, and now she's the COO. I've had Joanna started a customer service. Now she's a project manager. She lives in San Diego. So that's another thing. So the pandemic was a terrible thing in many ways, but also good in many ways. We went virtual overnight. I had a place in Fairfax where I had 30 people in Fairfax, in an office in Fairfax, 5,000 square foot office, 30 people in it. When the pandemic hit, everybody went home. I paid rent on that place for 2 years. Nobody there. But we went virtual. We got more efficient, more effective. And now I'm able to hire people from all over the country. And we're operating much more efficiently, virtually. It's incredible. I mean, we're a virtual company anyway. We're connected digitally. Anyway. And so we've just been able to do it, and we've been able to get talent. So we don't have to, it doesn't have to be in, DC area. And so the reason why I bring that up is that Joanna, who was customer service, who worked in the office, she's moving to San Diego. We were going to lose her. But instead of losing her, we were able to keep her, and we elevated her to project management, gave her a big raise, and kept her on and elevated her. And we're going to end up losing her at some point because she's going to be a doctor like you, and become a therapist, a psychologist. So that's what she's going to school for ultimately. So we'll lose her eventually, but we have her for now. And that's kind of that's the way of the world. You lose people, you get good people, you lose good people. I've lost a lot of great people over the years. A lot of great people that helped me build this company. Great people.
Talk about, retaining. What things do you do to help retain staff? Because I think with any company, there's good people, and maybe it's just that it runs the course, right? Maybe they're destined to do something else, but
your company culture is so important.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do it nowadays, over Zoom. And we just talked about this, at the Titans thing, like, how do you maintain your company culture? When you're doing your onboarding with your clients, you're also doing onboarding with your staff, and, trying to keep them on, happy and content, besides just giving them a raise every year. Obviously, that's stuff you got to do. You got to give them good benefits and all that kind of stuff. Treat them right, protect them. That's one thing, is treating them right, with respect, protecting them from the clients. A lot of times clients can get out of hand, and you want to protect them and show that. So that's important. We have game night every other week, where we do like a game night, and a lot of the staff show up. It's a virtual game night. We have meetings every morning like a virtual huddle. We do it over Zoom. Every morning at 9:30, the whole company gets online, and we just the leaders, the managers go over the three things that happened yesterday, the top three things that happened yesterday, and the three things that are going to happen today. That's kind of the premise of it. We usually go over the whole list of what they did. But that kind of keeps everybody in the loop of what's going on. That's been a great thing. I recommend that to anybody. Do that kind of huddle every morning. That's kind of my, that's something, you asked me a lesson from the Marines. That's something I took away from, have an early huddle, early morning.
So firing yourself, Tom, it seems like a daunting task, right? When you first made that decision, okay, I need to get myself out of these. What was the first thing that you got off your plate or hired for?
Coding.
Like, I got to stop
programming.
This. So you got developer,
I did that a long
CTO.
time ago. Yeah. That's where Toby and Young came into play when because I first wrote DSS, and I quickly found like it was great, but it was a lot of power, and I could break it really easily. And the more I did, the more important it became, and the more I knew I needed to have somebody else working on this because I couldn't do it myself. And I could see how far it needed to go. And so, although I might have started the very beginning of the CMS attitude with DSS, Young and his team, Young and Chris are my team that work on it, are the ones that have taken it so far beyond. It's such an amazing CMS.
So coding was first.
Yeah.
And was there how did you prioritize it? Was it something that I just don't like doing it, or I have a bigger vision for it? What was the premise behind?
Almost out of necessity. It's not like I sat down and said, "Here, let me." I never do that. Like, everything with me is a reactive, is a reactive state. No, we need to get somebody for this. We need to get somebody for this, and I think part of it is out of necessity. Part of it is out of pain in the assness. What you just hate doing, what you're not good at. I got rid of all the stuff that I wasn't that other people were. It was kind of easy to get rid of, and there was like a list of people, that are eager to do it: the coding, the designing, the project management, the writing. I had people, no problem getting content writer, getting all that whole thing going. And we've always been very proud of our content writing. We do great content, and that is, that people take that for granted. But, I've got a content shop. I got 25 people that write content and edit content. We do, probably 1,000 pieces of content a month. That's not insignificant for lawyers to put out there on the web, to get found organically, to get cases, to help people. And that's what it is. To help people, either it's an injury or an estate plan or DUI or whatever. And it's the content that gets them the help they need. So I'm very proud of that we've been able to establish that. That was kind of an early, no brainer. Like, we need good writers to do that stuff.
What was a hard thing, Tom? So you're like, I hate doing this.
Give up?
Yeah, the hardest thing to give up.
Sales and marketing.
That,
because that's me. That's kind of my And that's still that's the one that I tend to jump right back in and be like, okay, I need to get back in there.
Because that's the interesting part, right? It's the stuff. Yeah, I love that. And we should all think about, what do we hate doing? What are we not as good at, or bring someone else? And what's a necessity? Like there's a pain point there. But then we get into we bleed a little bit into well, I really like doing the sales, or I like doing this, but in order for you to oversee the whole company,
yeah,
you found you needed to get yourself out of that. So what were some of the steps of how you stepped into taking the sales and the marketing off of your plate?
Well, I'm still in the middle of doing that. I think I'm not quite done. I'm still trying to do it. I've not yet completed that. And it's not something that I am like, it's not like I'm like, I want to do the sales and marketing. And no, I don't. I'm trying to get other people to do it better than me. And I'm not even saying that I was so great at it. I'll give myself a B plus. But I want my team to be A plus people. And so my job now is to create the A plus team. They're not quite there yet. I just had a meeting yesterday with them about, we got to be an A plus team. And, that takes, we have a different mind. It's a different world today. The internet is different. The mindset is different for why do you need a website? When we first got into this, the websites were new. The web was new. And so people were running to the web and said, I need a website. Can I get one from you? Nowadays, everybody has a website. So that's not what the ask is anymore. The ask is, I need new clients. Oh, do you have a better website than what I have now? And you've got to get somebody to think about that. And that's not as easy as, I need that new thing that you have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. You have decades of knowledge. Even before, like you had the, Foster Web Marketing, you were doing sales with the software. And so when you think of transferring that knowledge, of your knowledge and expertise into someone else, and maybe they come with their own, but you have specific nuances a little bit to how you like things done, or you have found them to be done. How do you train and transfer that to the next team, your new sales and marketing team?
Lots of yapping, lots of talking, lots of discussions. But you said it. I want them to bring in their own experience. So, for instance, just hired a guy that is an experienced, different kind of sales person than me, and my brother, who's Chad, my brother, who's been with me for 10, 15 years. I don't even know. Long time. As the sales guy. He's a different kind of sales guy. He's more of a trapper. The leads come in, he closes the leads, but he needs leads to come in. Tom Williams is another guy named Tom, so we call him TW. He's more of a hunter. He's more out there networking and looking for opportunities. He's out there cold calling. He's out there. So he's a different mentality. That's something that I've done before as well, but I'm interested in seeing, I want to see how you do this. I don't want you to do what I've done, because what I've done got us here and isn't necessarily getting us to the next level. I'm looking to you to get us to the next level. And so at this point, it's a great question, because at this point, really, it's not about me teaching people, because I've taught Molly McCormick, who's my marketing director, who's in the Titans group. And who actually started out, she's been with me for 9 years now. She started out as customer service and then came to marketing, left me for a little bit, then came back because she was like, it's so horrible out there and so wonderful with you.
That's a big compliment.
Yeah. And
the biggest compliment you can get, probably.
I agree. And she's fantastic. And I've trained her in how to do marketing. And so she does it my way or our way, which is direct response. And that we've got, I feel. You can always tweak copy. You can always, blah, blah, blah. And we do. But I'm interested in, because it's a whole new world these days, as I said. It's a whole new world. And I do think that we have to change our messaging right now. We have to change our offering. Oh, well, because we have to come up with something new. We have to come up with something exciting. We have to come up with something to get people's attention. Because right now, there isn't anything new. The internet there's nothing new on the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we don't have a new social media platform to go to say, now this is new Instagram. You know what I'm saying? This is new TikTok. There's nothing new right now. So you have to invent something to get them excited. So what is their pain? What are they going through? Because everybody's going through the same thing. We all want it. What do we all want? We all want more leads and sales. Everybody, constantly. That's constantly our pain. So that's the message is, oh, by the way, FWM and my platform is the way to get you more leads and sales. But we have to reformulate that message. And that's the same message that you give over and over again in different candy, different pies, different packages. And that's part of it.
Yeah, Tom, I think I love what you're saying, because you've kind of started it and did everything. And then you basically took things off of your plate, and took things off of your plate that you did not like doing, maybe feel someone was better at you doing, but then it comes to a point where you're really good at something, but you still want to take it to the next level. So bring on more people. And I like how you kind of segment the sales piece, which is there's a different personality probably of a hunter and a trapper, right? Someone's out there going to get them, and you have two, because you probably did both of those things, right? You go out there, you generate the interest in the leads, and then you'd, close those leads. And now you kind of have two separate personalities doing that.
I'm trying both. Whereas before I existed in one world, which is kind of the trapper. That's what direct response is that it's a kind of a trapper kind of world. Now I'm doing this new thing. Another thing that I want to mention that we haven't talked about is the fact that I got involved in EOS. And that has been huge. And I think we're on 8 months now, 8 or 9 months, EOS. And I absolutely love the entrepreneur operating system, the book Traction.
Yeah. I've had Gino Wickman on the podcast. You can check out.
Of course you have, because you're the man. Wow. That is amazing. That is so cool. Jeremy, you're the man. Dr. Jeremy. You're the man. You got everybody on your podcast. Tony Horton too. Dude, I am in awe of you. So I'm in awe of being on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm in awe of you firing yourself from all your positions, and everyone else should be also. But EOS is, everyone raves about EOS and running their company EOS. And so
that's part of the reason why I fired myself is like EOS has kind of driven me to do that as the visionary. And, as we work on it, it is just logical.
Yeah. So I encourage people to check out the book Traction, Gino Wickman. I also maybe we'll link up. I did an episode with Mark Winters of Rocket Fuel, and he co-wrote Rocket Fuel with Gino Wickman. So check out. Yeah, because you were talking about the visionary, and there's a visionary integrator, and kind of the premise behind Rocket Fuel is actually that you need both of them together to go to the moon, right?
Buster's my integrator. So we love it. And EOS has changed and changed our lives. Ross Foca is our coach. He's just done a great job. And that's really what has propelled and kind of how I got into that is that, I was approached last summer to sell the company. And that was great for my ego. And I loved it. And, but what happened was it wasn't enough money. It wasn't enough. It wasn't as much as I wanted. It would have been great for me, but it wasn't going to be enough for everybody else. So, it kind of exposed what a mess the company was just kind of the way it was. And that's what I was like, I got to get my shit together here.
Yeah. I mean, mess is, I mean, you're a modest guy. A mess is a little bit strong, but really, things that you were doing, because when you sell the company, you're not going to be there forever. So they want other people there to carry it on. So you need to remove yourself from certain things.
Well, that's kind of what I was involved in, too many things. And I was kind of in there too much. And that's what I mean by a mess.
Yes.
And we needed to get it organized. That's why we got EOS. And we wanted to create an organized company that was more valuable. And we wanted to drive it from the 6 million that it is to 20 million by 2027. So that is the goal, is to drive it to 20 million. And we're working towards that goal.
It's amazing. I have one last question, Tom, before I ask it. I want to point people to your website. All right.
Yeah.
You can go to fosterwebmarketing.com to learn more. And it's funny, full circle. So I had Gino Wickman on, I had Mark Winters on, then I had the Firefly group, David Mann and Derek Smith, who bought EOS. So it was interesting to hear what they looked for and how that went in the purchase when they were chatting with Gino to buy it. So it was a really interesting episode. My last question, Tom, is about, just to people get a sense a little bit more. I mean, I think we have about what you do, but there was one particular case with Peter Wishney, I think it was.
Peter Wishney. Well, Peter Wishney is one of my doctors. Well, I call him the Godfather. He's a good friend of mine. He's a podiatrist up in New Jersey, Piscataway. But he's not just any podiatrist. He just sold his firm, his practice, for millions and millions, which is what every podiatrist dream. And he started out, he was just a smart doctor, businessman. He's written his own book. I'm sorry, Peter, I don't remember the name of the book, but he's written his own book too. You should get him on this podcast too, by the way.
Sounds good to me.
Doctor, two doctors. But Peter Wishney, he is in the process of selling his practice. Brad Schaefer is also a client and works with Peter, or did work with Peter before they sold. Brad Schaefer's the guy is the famous podiatrist on the learning TLC. Does the that super hot podiatrist all the girls like.
I think this is the book. I think the podiatry practice business solution, but practice is crossed out.
Yep, exactly. That's it.
So what did you do with Peter?
Well, we did his website. We do his website. And before he became so big, he was just a fledgling doctor, but interesting story. So he came to us years ago and we helped with his digital marketing. He had a marketing person there named Jessica, and she did all the work, the content, all the we taught her how to do it. She became an expert. When he sold his practice, Jessica came to work for us. So now Jessica's a coach at FWM, which is great. And he's in the middle of selling the practice to this bigger, whatever this firm that's gobbling, this bigger practice that's gobbling up. We're hoping to get websites from them. So we'll see what happens. But he's been one of our and that's what's happening in the podiatry world, is that, these practices are getting gobbled up. So,
well, Tom,
we're helping them.
This is amazing. I just want to be the first one to thank you for sharing your journey, sharing some of the things that have worked really well throughout your career and your company. And I want to just point everyone to check out fosterwebmarketing.com. Thanks, everyone, and check out more episodes. And thanks, Tom.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Dr. Jeremy.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like $100 grand.